In October of 1925, Paris society was all excited about the opening of the Revue Negre. Jazz, or in fact anything that came from Black America, was the latest fashion, and the Broadway dancers and performers who made up the Revue Negre were African American. On opening night, artists and high society packed the hall. The show was spectacular, as they expected, but nothing prepared them for the last number performed by a somewhat gawky, long-legged woman with the prettiest face. Josephine Baker, 20-year-old chorus girl from East St. Louis. She came on stage bare-breasted, wearing a skirt of feathers over a satin bikini bottom, with feathers around her neck and ankles. Although she performed her number, called Danse Sauvage, with another dancer, also clad in feathers, all eyes were riveted on her. Her whole body seemed to come alive in a way the audience had never seen before, her legs moving with the litheness of a cat, her rear end gyrating in patterns that one critic likened to a hummingbird's. As the dance went on, she seemed possessed, feeding off the crowd's ecstatic reaction. And then there was the look on her face. She was having such fun. She radiated a joy that made her erotic dance oddly innocent, even slightly comic. By the following day, word had spread. A star was born. Josephine became the heart of the Revue Negre, and Paris was at her feet. Within a year, her face was on posters everywhere. There were Josephine Baker perfumes, dolls, clothes. Fashionable French women were slicking their hair back a la Baker, using a product called Baker Fix. They were even trying to darken their skin. Such sudden fame represented quite a change. For just a few years earlier, Josephine had been a young girl growing up in East St. Louis, one of America's worst slums. She had gone to work at the age of 8, cleaning houses for a white woman who beat her. She had sometimes slept in a rat-infested basement. There had never been heat in the winter. She had taught herself to dance in her wild fashion to help keep herself warm. In 1919, Josephine had run away and become a part-time vaudeville performer, landing in New York 2 years later without money or connections. She had had some success as a clowning chorus girl, providing comic relief with her crossed eyes. Then she was invited to Paris. Some other black performers had declined, fearing things might be still worse for them in France than in America, but Josephine jumped at the chance. Despite her success with the Revue Negre, Josephine did not delude herself. Parisians were notoriously fickle. She decided to turn the relationship around. First, she refused to be aligned with any club and developed a reputation for breaking contracts at will, making it clear that she was ready to leave in an instant. Since childhood, she had been afraid of dependence on anyone. Now, no one could take her for granted. This only made impresarios chase her, and the public appreciate her the more. Second, she was aware that although black culture had become the vogue, what the French had fallen in love with was a kind of caricature. If that was what it took to be successful, so be it. But Josephine made it clear that she didn't take the caricature seriously. Instead, she reversed it, becoming the ultimate Frenchwoman of fashion, a caricature not of blackness, but of whiteness. Everything was a role to play. The comedienne, the primitive dancer, the ultra-stylish Parisian. And everything Josephine did, she did with such a light spirit, such a lack of pretension, that she continued to seduce the jaded French for years. Her funeral in 1975 was nationally televised, a huge cultural event. She was buried with the kind of pomp normally reserved only for heads of state.